Good evening. Here are news headlines for tonight's news bulletin. Whale watching regulations passed and concerns also raised regarding whale watching. The Tufukia to Aliluki area is being cleared as a historical location project. A workshop held last week to promote consumption of local foods. Scenic Matsu Resort introduces a new degustation 5-course meal. The New Zealand High Commission has initiated a project to install playground sets in some of the communities around the island. Whale watching has become a contentious issue following a number of key developments in Niue and some concerns raised last week. In an interview with Radio New Zealand, a local resident was quoted saying that 95% of Niue's population was against whale watching. This is a claim that has been deemed somewhat inaccurate by local NGO Amatawha, who have said that it is the harassment of whales that is an issue. Niue provides a unique opportunity for people to interact with whales, whether watching from boats or on land, and this is a drawcard that brings visitors to Niue with economic benefits for the tourism industry. However, Niue also serves as a whale sanctuary, but Amatawha believes that they can strike a balance where whales are safeguarded by properly regulating whale watching operations. Niue became a whale sanctuary in 2003, and since then, Amatawha has worked closely with a number of key stakeholders and government to develop a set of guidelines that has now evolved into whale watching regulations. After many years of lobbying, it was announced that this month, Cabinet passed the Niue whale watching regulations that will strengthen efforts for the protection of whales that venture into Niue waters, a timely development considering this year is the Year of the Whale. Although this marks a milestone for Amatawha, there still remains a lot of work that needs to be done in terms of boat operator training, proposed enforcement training that is pivotal to the implementation of the regulations for whale watching operations. Amatawha's vision in coexisting with Niue's whale watching industry is that Niue will be a leader in the whale watching operations, performing best practices, upholding utmost respect for whales, keeping in mind Niue's cultural affiliation with whales, safeguarding whales and passengers, and allowing each passenger to leave with an enriched experience. The former Lord Liverpool Hospital area at Tufukia, Alufi South, including the government accommodation blocks at Aliluki, all the way down to the old Niue Hotel, is now being cleared as part of a historical site project. The area that was ravaged by Cyclone Hatta in 2004 has now been cleared after years of neglect. The aim is to develop the area back to its former glory and is the brainchild of Honourable Dalton Tongilangi after consultation with his Alofi South community.
It's a combine here between the government and the village of Alofi South. We always thought that this is another heritage part of the village. This is the phase one of it, and the phase one it's mainly just to clear, level it, and then we'll move on to phase two, whatever happens later on. There's no plans for the phase two yet, but we'll definitely phase two. There's so many interests at the moment. People wanted to, they've been asking questions if they can lease a block here, and other things as well. But the original plan that we put out, it's like a park. So we clear the whole area, and then we'll have sort of a walkway or cycleway built along the cliff face. Down to the old place down there. So that was the original plan, and of course just clear the whole area here, just level up and make it as a park and make it as a place where families and communities, anyone can come and enjoy themselves around here.
This is an initiative that is backed by the government to revive the area, especially the Lord Liverpool Hospital area, as a heritage location with a rich history not only for the people of Alofi South, but also Niue. It's a place where many of Niue's past and present populations were born, a place where people had their illnesses repaired, and where some died. The project is funded by the government of South Korea with an injection of $100,000 after receiving a proposal from the Niue government. And while it seemed a lot of money, there are some major developments planned for the area which will no doubt absorb the available funds in no time. There is already some cost of using a D6 caterpillar to clear the land on a project that started over a month ago.
So many people in Niue, example right there, there used to be a little fale fokau for the patients' families when they come to visit them there. And, you know, people travel this road up and down. So we have the Niue Hotel, so many memories. And it's not only the people of itself, but the people in Niue.
And that's what you want to...
That's what we drive to do. And that's why, like I said, once it's clear, whatever we ended up with, we would like to share as a part of... really, it's a community project, but it's not directly say it's Alofi South community project. It's a project, Alofi South, it's running it, but it's a whole, community as a whole, as a people of Niue. It's overwhelming. It's people, people from outside, when you see, they're just happy. I mean, especially, like I said, those that are matured people, people that used to have fun in the younger days here. They are the ones now that are more happy and to see this place tidy up again. But overwhelmingly, but that's the hard part for me now, is to keep the place, the way it is. One thing you can clean and everyone can be happy, it's clear, but then you got to maintain, so that's a hard part.
Honourable Tangilangi said the Crown land, especially where the hospital was, requires careful planning to integrate and capture the history and beauty. But he is open to anyone who may have plans to add some value to what was once the place where the past and present populations of Niue were born. The whole idea is to revive the Lord Liverpool Hospital location as a place of significant heritage. Last week, a workshop was held to promote healthy eating and use of local foods, to invest in growing a wider variety of local produce. Niue imports a majority of its food, and this training looked at ways to minimize the consumption and dependence on imported goods, but invest in more locally grown products. Niue is one of over 100 countries worldwide that has been working alongside the Food and Agriculture Organization to develop food-based dietary guidelines that will promote healthy lifestyles.
The food-based dietary guidelines are a set of 4 posters, and there are guidelines on the different types of food groups and how much of each food group that we're supposed to eat. There are also other guidelines on other basic health facts that we're supposed to follow. The guidelines were developed in 2002 for the whole of the Pacific, and they were translated into Niuean by Gayleen Tasmania and Katie Ferretti. We felt that they are a bit, the information in it is still relevant, but perhaps it's time to look at giving it putting it into the newer context and making it look attractive, so that especially for the younger people. We were also looking at the importance of awareness and communication, especially to those at the household level, but also to working with the schools and helping to promote and make people aware of the information that are in these guidelines.
Mrs. Tovaka says that this project is also linked to the fruit tree development project that is already being carried out at the Waipapahi site. The demonstration sites have already been cleared, and there are also programs within the schools.
There are a set of 4 posters. One is for adults, and then there's the others that are targeted to the younger people. But I think they're just pretty much general information that have been used in by the Department of Health in the past. We see it a lot during health awareness programs. The way forward here is, once we have reviewed and probably looked at updating the graphics and, the messages that are on these current guidelines, then that would be a way to improve the awareness and communication out to the public, but also to the schools. It's not new information, but perhaps it's an opportunity for us to just to remind people, that these that these guidelines are in place, and then that they can help them with their healthy living and lifestyles today.
The project is set to run for 1 year with awareness programs and also revamping of posters that will be more attractive and hopefully change mindsets of people to make healthier choices. Scenic Matsu Resort has something slightly different on the menu this coming weekend as they introduce a degustation menu from a chef from one of their resorts in New Zealand. Michelin chef Andrew Howard Swain has been working with Scenic Matsu's chef Edward Gibson to develop a unique menu that will have elements of Niuean cuisine and European culinary arts. The degustation menu involves sampling of portions of all of the chef's signature dishes in one sitting, and in this case, a 5-course meal.
Basically, degustation is tasting platters or small portions of food that are created by a chef with their signature dishes. But in our case, we're going to do our signature dishes, but in bigger portions, so a lot more food for you guys to try. We're going to use some local delicacies, your onga, tara, papo, and also we're going to use some stuff imported from, or coming over from New Zealand, some nice lamb, some beef, and it's going to be good.
For the past 4 weeks, Chef Andrew has been working with Scenic Matsu staff to brush up on their presentation and catering skills to make this event an ultimate success. This has also been an opportunity to work with local chefs on some of the different varieties of meals offered at Scenic's other 5-star hotels.
So far, we're quite happy with the response we've had. Our target is to have 60 people, and we were hoping that 50% would be of local clientele. And so far, we've had about 25 to 30 bookings so far, which is quite impressive. And as we understand, most of our locals book right last minute, and with also a full house at the moment, we're quite guaranteed that we will make the mark of 60. In the future, it's something we want to build as a starting point, and we want it to make it, give it a wow factor. We've been training the staff all week to make sure that it comes right tomorrow. As we know, if it comes wrong, then it's going to be quite hard to push it again next year. But we're quite positive. Andrew has loved Niue. In fact, he's been asking if he could stay a bit longer, which is no surprise, but that's what Niue does to people. But the numbers locally, we're quite impressed with what we've received so far.
Chef Andrew will be travelling out in 2 weeks' time to share his expertise with another one of the hotel branches in Tonga. The New Zealand High Commission Office has a new project that could see a number of swing sets gifted to some villages around the island for the children. The project is funded through the Head of Mission funds that is distributed at the discretion of the New Zealand High Commissioner for Community-Based Projects. What initially started as a project to replace playground equipment at Walahi has now seen some potential interest from other villages, and the project has expanded a bit.
Some of the things that we've been thinking about at the High Commission, getting the children out exercising and enjoying what they have in the community. And so across the island I'm trying to raise sufficient funding to be able to support the children and some of the activities that they can be involved in after school on the weekends, get them out of the house and away from the iPads and their iPhones. They go through the village council if they're for the village, and they make an approach to the High Commission with their idea and their plan and a budget, and we see if we can accommodate it. But I reinforce it's only a very small budget, and there's quite a demand on that disposable budget, so we have to be quite judicious in its use. I was successful in petitioning for additional funds which will give us extra play equipment for children in the other villages. So I don't want everybody to think that they've missed out. I've tried to be plan forward. If you don't get something in the next couple of boatloads, you will ultimately be able to get some sort of play equipment for the children. I think it's just a great opportunity to get children out.
playground equipment on the island is mainly situated within the township of Alofi. That may be a distance for some children to access, but with this new initiative, that will mean that the community can assist with the development of playgrounds closer to home. This has been made possible through funding avenues within the New Zealand High Commission office.
We have a head of mission fund. That's a fund that is at my discretion to use. It's not a large fund. It's audited quite heavily by New Zealand because it is a disposable fund. But I respond to requests from the community for community initiatives. And we saw a need for children to become more active, along with health and NCDs. We think that it's probably a really good opportunity to have children become involved in community activities. And that includes getting out and having some fun time, some playtime.
The New Zealand High Commission has been working closely with village councils to identify locations within some villages to place the equipment that is more accessible to children, but it will require some community input.
The community has to be involved in this as well. I can provide the funding for the equipment, but it's a community responsibility to install the equipment, and they're also responsible for the health and safety issues that come from using the equipment. That is the village responsibility. For Fualahi, for instance, they've always had an old swing set which has fallen into disrepair, and we've got general agreement from the village that they'll repair the swing set, and I'll provide additional material for it, so it'll get a set of swinging bars on it, and also a small toddler's swing.
The development of small playgrounds is an initiative to get children outdoors for fun exercise that will also have health benefits. And that concludes our news bulletin for this evening. We do hope that you have an enjoyable weekend ahead, and join us for our next news bulletin next week.